All right, welcome to the Sports Republic show. We should have said let's start with the bad news, but there's no bad news anyways because it just broke out there now that the news about Taiwo Awoniyi is just on the pen side. I will tell you about Awoniyi, but let me start off the show by saying congratulations to Victor Osimhen. I don't know what you make about Osimhen, but he is that prolific international Nigerian striker. Anytime in the day, the world knows his story. He's been great to watch. Congratulations to that very man. He's won the Turkish Cup for the first time in his career, and for every time he goes, he clinches on something. We know his story, African Player of the Year for 2023, and now he has won the Turkish Cup. What more can be said on the show? From all of us here, Victor, we really love you. Happy celebration to Victor Osimhen. Every Galatasaray fan all over the world. Guess what? This guy don't carry many Nigerian players. Now, so that we don't support, even me, website, not they like them like that. Or me, I support Galatasaray right now with style. Because Victor Osimhen, he don't already do, and we just say yes. Victor, you don't already do what we say we like, and any day we feel the talk, I say yes, now Victor be this. See, people know his story, not be say they carry the talk. And I know say this guy when I see so if you not give a chance, you go even win World Cup, but now whether Nigeria go World Cup, not be the matter. But also, let me quickly say this: we are sending out our well wishes to one man, Taiwo Awoniyi, the talented Super Eagles player, who as of yesterday was in an induced coma after undergoing emergency surgery. We'll bring you that clip so you see that abdominal injury. But thank God today, the news just out that Taiwo Awoniyi is back on track. He's alive again. He's breaking out now and then. But on the show today again, we'll be discussing. But oh, look at this, look at this. Let's get it full quickly. Let me say that the run was great to see. Let's get it full. For God, see, if you like to Taiwo Awoniyi for village, you get it in the plant for now because the other time he was back in Nigeria. I gave thanks to God. Oh, look at it. Watch that again. Get it full. He was paused. You can see that. And you know where he shared his insight on Nigerian football and also exposes some NFF secrets. Let's keep talking about that, man. Let's talk about Taiwo in the thoughts. And let me say this: Taiwo Awoniyi, our thoughts and prayer. Everything, you know, with you. We'll keep you updated on his progress, but I already told you he's back, out from that coma. So that's the word. According to the report, they said that's the only way out. Taiwo needs to go through that route, and then at the end of the day, the good news is that Taiwo Awoniyi is back on track. Welcome to the Sports Republic show. My name is Kizike, and let's start with one news. For those who wants to know what happened to Taiwo Awoniyi, according to the report as started yesterday, and also for the weekend, Super Eagles Taiwo Awoniyi was in an induced coma after undergoing emergency surgery. According to a report in England, the player was injured in the closing stages of the Nottingham Forest 2-2 draw against Leicester on Sunday. That's the Premier League. Earlier on Tuesday, the club released a statement which said the Nigerian player was recovering well so far, following an urgent surgery on a serious abdominal injury. But later on, like yesterday, a fresh report came out claiming that the injury could have been fatal had it not been operated in what could have been described as a complex medical procedure. I know all these are medical things. Me, I'm not concerned about complex procedure. The name, see, you get some names, people they will tell you the name is big part of what they do you. So if you're not gonna get the mentality, if you just go one side or you join. But Taiwo was treated on the pitch after colliding with the post while trying to put the ball in the back of the net. He initially tried to brave and play on, but was eventually forced off after a few minutes. The incident led Forest with 10 men as they chased much needed goal in their bid to qualify for the Champions League, and that competition came out before we saw Evangelino Marinakis and also Nuno Espirito Santo. But if you ask me, I would like to say this: we wish Taiwo Awoniyi a quick recovery from all of us right here, VOP Media, Voice of the People, Radio, TV, you know, the world general media. We say Taiwo Awoniyi, we wish you all of the best. Now, let's bring you the most interesting story of how someone said that our NFF wants money. Someone said he still regrets why he never plays for Nigeria. Where someone also said he flew from England, that's the word, he flew from England to Nigeria during the era of the presidency of late MKO Abiola at that point, and then only to be disappointed simply because he don't have money to play for the national team. According to him, he said the coach told him that if he doesn't have money to pay, them, then he has to go back with his ability and his talent and everything he has for himself. But now, you take out your time, enjoy our radio interview with former international, you could say former England international, John Fashanu, who is a Nigerian by descent, but was born abroad, Huddersfield to be exact, in England. And then you have to say this. Guess what? What you don't know is what you're about to know now. Some people said he dumped Nigeria. Did he really dump Nigeria? Some said no, he wanted to play, but they said pay money. All of these things, raising eyebrows, mouths waggling. Let's watch this one. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere. I'll be back shortly. Let's join that man that I can't even wait to see. I mean, one of the reasons I always say on the radio is that I'm always saying that It will be a dream for me to see him someday and ask him questions, like everybody's asked. One ask question. Why do you? I mean, love talks about Nigeria and England and the rest of that, but we've got something very bigger to talk about on the show. And I say today we have a very special guest joining us, virtually all the way from, oh, that's a phone line connection right now, from Abuja. Please join me welcoming legendary John Fashanu, a former England international and Wimbledon striker. John Fashanu is no stranger to the beautiful game of football. He is here to share his thoughts on everything football and, most importantly, his bold aspirations to lead the Super Eagles of Nigeria as their coach, if there's a possibility of that one. And I must say, welcome, John. Welcome. We are excited to have you on the show this day. Good evening. Great to have you.
Good evening, and thank you so much for being on. Thank you.
Yeah, happy to have you on the show. So let's get a talk. I said when I have you on the show someday. Can you hear me well? Hello? Are you here with me? Yeah, very well. I can hear you.
I can hear you loud and...
All right, so let's get a talking ways, okay?
Okay.
So I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say very clear. I'm happy to have you on the show. It's a privilege for me to have you on the radio today. It's like a dream come true, if I must say.
Wow, it's very bad.
Oh, all right. So let's talk now. What did you say?
I was just telling you that I'm happy to be on the show, and now a few truths will come out.
Okay.
Tell people what they don't know.
Right. We'll talk about that on the show. So quickly, let's get to the talk point now. John, let's talk about you now. You've expressed interest, in coaching the Super Eagles. What drives your passion for Nigerian football?
Okay, let's be very quick. People were saying, "Oh, John Fashanu didn't play for his country." That is not true. After I was asked to play for my country, when they gave me the bill of how much I had to pay to play for my country, I couldn't fix it. I couldn't hit it at all. I think every single person out there listening knows the situation with the Super Eagles.
Wow.
And we all know that money has to change hands. Coming from England, we didn't have a penny. And so, unfortunately, I couldn't make it. It wasn't that I wanted to put my hand down and I said, I'm not playing for Nigeria. Nigeria is the motherland.
Right.
And the country that I love. That's why I'm here. I just could not get the money together what certain managers and coaches wanted before I played for the Super Eagles. Wait,
if I get you right, you were asked to pay some money before you play for Nigeria, your motherland.
That's right. I was asked to play in the motherland for the Super Eagles, and I rejected it because I didn't have enough money. Very embarrassing as it was.
Right.
We didn't have much money then.
But
I was worthy of it.
Yeah, can I tell you something? A lot of people don't even know this. Do you know that?
So many.
Right.
So many. I have literally met people on the street who will come and abuse me to my face and say, you never played for Nigeria, John Fashanu. It's a lie. You let us down. It's not true at all.
Wow. I'm so surprised. I'm very shocked. I wasn't expecting this. I mean, this is far from what I know. This is so far from what I know. It got me stopped on the show, but okay, regardless, let's move on. I could hear from you how much you love Nigeria. And if you're opportune, I guess you'll play for Nigeria if you had a chance.
Oh, I would love to. In actual fact, playing for Nigeria would have been one of the things in my life I wanted to achieve. I wanted to achieve that. And unfortunately, when the coach told me how much he wanted in advance, I backed down so quickly because I just didn't have the money. There's no point lying. But
right.
I was playing for Aston Villa in London. I was playing for Wimbledon in London. I was playing for so many clubs in London. Yet I couldn't play for the motherland. Disappointing.
Right, disappointed. Okay, you know what? This is going to be a talk for another day. I really need to have you again on the show, but maybe not today on that part. That's a very, very detrimental one to the nation. But quickly, let's get to talking ways. You have a lot of aspiration you have a lot of things you want to do for Nigeria. You mentioned one time you needed the right people to work with if you were opportune. On that talk, what specific support system do you envision for success? Did you get me right? Hello? Oh, I hope we didn't lost him. Hello, can you hear me well?
Okay, I hear you now. I lost you for a minute.
Okay, so yeah, I talked about the part where you one time mentioned you talked about the right people, needed the right people to work with. If you're giving that space, but I would like to ask you, what specific support system do you envision for success?
Say that again. Sorry.
Okay, I said you once mentioned we learned according to report that you said you mentioned you needed the right people if you're opportune to be on that phase, and I'm asking you, what specific support system do you envision for success?
For the Super Eagles?
Right.
You know, I'm at a stage now where I know that I could manage, and I should be one of the names that is down to manage the Super Eagles. Because I've met everyone, I've played in so many countries, and of course I know the weak and I know the strength of our country. And so really, and again, I want to manage the Super Eagles. Right.
You're saying it straight to my face. You want to manage the Super Eagles. Sounds cool. Okay, now you describe managing the Super Eagles as one of the hardest jobs, I recall. And then what challenges do you anticipate and how would you overcome them?
Well, the number one difficulty is everybody wanting something for doing nothing.
Wow.
Everybody wants money, which is unfortunate. But at the same time, you'll see so many of our players, I won't mention names, who recently just left, had enough. I know exactly what Kocha and Kanu Wanko said to me when suddenly that position was open. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants it because of what people have to pay and what have to pay. And it's very unfortunate. Especially me, when I've got the contacts in England, I've got the contacts all over the world because I've played all over the world.
Right.
And the wonderful things we could do are incredible. But again, money.
So money seems to be the problem. Okay, so looking back now, do you regret not playing for Nigeria, and what would you do differently if given a chance? I mean, you would have loved to play for Nigeria. What would you have done if you had the opportunity?
Well, we've really tried. I think we've lost a lot of games, which was unnecessary. My being a striker and being a very successful striker, I want to see the Super Eagles up front. I want to see all the players in the 18-yard box. I want to see them at least across the halfway line. I don't want to see players just lazing about at the back. And I always would prefer to see the wingers, both sides, because we're going to play a 4-4-2, and I like to see that. We're going to still see the players who will go around and cross the ball and let the strikers do what we do best.
Sounds very cool. That's like you sound like a playing coach. You got the flair, because what changes call up to Go on.
Well, just bear in mind, I've been there, I've seen it, and I've done it for 20 years, and it works.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so let's talk about the managerial part again. Now, if appointed coach of the Super Eagles like you want to be, how would you approach team building and strategy for the Super Eagles?
Well, first of all, let's find out who really wants to play for the Super Eagles.
How do you find that?
Who is just in there.
Yeah.
Pardon?
No, go on.
Let's establish who really wants to play for the Super Eagles and who is just doing a job. That's very important because you want to have the players who've got that strength. They want to have that passion for the game. They're screaming and shouting because they love playing the game. I haven't seen that yet. Kennedy George, I see these players and they're not saying to me, oh, John Fashanu, we want to be manager. They're saying, hey, let's run away. JJ, they're saying we don't want this stress. So I want to try and get rid of that horrible feeling we don't want to manage the Super Eagles.
Okay, that's cool. So what changes do you think is necessary to improve Nigerian football overall? I mean, talk about our reputation and performance-wise.
Well, of course, yeah, the reputation is terrible.
Right.
These are things we've got to work on. But if we look at it, you will see that we have some of the best players in the world, but they're not getting the publicity which is necessary. Some of our players, and I've seen them all over the world, we have what it takes, but we don't have the coaches who can actually talk to the players and give them a little bit more. That's just unfortunate. And
Right.
so that's just the way we are at the moment.
Okay,
and
so-
I'm hoping that things will change.
Okay, so there's something I want to say to you. I mean, on radio, on TV as well in Lagos, Nigeria. If there's anybody who is advocating for something very good, I mean, talking about it week in, week out, it's me. I'm not a friend of the Nigerian Football Federation, sorry to say. One thing I do on the radio, if they don't do it so well, I'm always going to talk about it. If they're not doing it right on TV as well, I say all of these things because they once promised us an enterprising coach. That was the word Amaju Pinnick told us. And they said we'll be having a very great coach. At the end of the day, after Pesaro left the job, Finidi couldn't get it right. Pesaro left, a lot of issues. Then we have Eric Chelle. Now, it will be very bad if Nigeria fail to make it to the World Cup, to the very biggest Mondial, and that's for, next year. It will be a consecutive time. But let's talk about the current state of Nigerian football. I'd like to ask you, do you believe the Super Eagles can qualify for the World Cup? What would it take?
Number one, Nigeria will qualify for the World Cup.
Okay.
That's without doubt. I believe in them, and I believe in the passion and the aggression that we've got, which you need to be able to win to get into the World Cup. Yes, I'm very disappointed Trinity and a few of the others don't actually want to play, don't want to manage the Super Eagles. So we bring in managers who nobody has heard of. They come in, they get their money, and we wonder what on earth do they have? Do they have any international, shall we say, experience? No, they don't. Why are we bringing them in? I wonder. You've got John Fashanu here. You've got Michael Kanu here. You've got so many top big names who have done well for our country, yet you're not selecting them. There's something wrong there. Very wrong.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You talked about it. I like the part where you're very optimistic about yourself, and I'm also liking the part where you're connecting with other internationals who did the job just like you did. Now you talked about Finidi. If now these personalities, these big names who have played the game to a very level, do you think they also want to do the job? Why are they not advocating for this? Why are they not on the news like we want to do this? Like you're rather saying, you're saying on the radio, this is a national radio, and you're out here saying you want to manage the Super Eagles. That's how bold you are. That's how you want the job. That's how you want it right because you know the game. But the administration of Nigerian football, it's not on me on the radio to start talking about if these people knows the job. But these are ex-internationals that you rightly talked about now. Why are we not seeing them emphasizing for this?
I'll tell you very clearly. They don't want the pressure on it. They don't want the rubbish that comes with it. I'm sorry to say it. I'm very sorry to say it. I'm now in my 50s. And I've played the game for many years. Nobody wants the rubbish that comes with it. But I'm here and I'm ready to say, okay, I'm going to take it for a little while.
Right.
You see what happened with our first player, one of our players who tried to manage the Super Eagles. He didn't last long. He got the rubbish and he had to back down and resigned. You know who he is. I'm not going to name names.
I know.
We shouldn't have this situation. We shouldn't have this situation. You have JJ, you have so many other top players who should be managing the Super Eagles, not bringing in far-off people from Finland, from Sweden, from so many other countries. And should I say it, white, English, or German, or Swedish? We don't need them. We have the quality here in abundance. That's the thing which annoys me.
Right, you talk about Nigeria and you sound cool. We can make it to the World Cup. That's the prayer for every Nigerian at this point in time, Well, let's look at the log right now. We are just down the pecking order. South Africa on top of the log. And we are still waiting to know the FIFA, investigation and that very one. But even if it happens, there will be 10 points. Rwanda, Benin Republic are just above Nigeria. Now, what's the way forward? How do Nigeria qualify for the World Cup? Because the next game is September. That's Rwanda. And right after that in Nigeria travel to South Africa. That is like a stunning block. Are you looking at it from the other route? How do we qualify? What does it take? How can we make it out from that group?
Well, number one, we must remember that most of the player managers have been in that situation, and they're qualified. Most of them, Finidi and so many, JJ, Kanu, they are all qualified. They have been there themselves. When you bring in somebody who has never been there in this itself, there are problems. And you've got a lot of arguments, I noticed with the players when I was there. The players are on boss who tell them all, stop it, shut up, everybody. Everybody wants a part of each other, and you can see it. And this is why we're breaking up and we're having these unfriendly matches where we are fighting amongst ourselves.
I don't know. Would you love to talk about a new coach, Eric Chelle?
Well, we brought in a new coach, but look at his qualifications, can you? I think if you look at his qualifications, that says it all. That is not what we want. We want a lot more than that. This is Nigeria.
Right.
And we got some of the best players in the world. So why have we not got some of the best coaches in the world? We've got them, but we don't want to bring them. We don't want to bring them in. Sad.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about the convincing platform where, talking about players convention, and then there's a Unity Cup coming up very, very soon. That's in London, GTEC Stadium, the Brentford-owned stadium, where Eric Chelle will be, giving some young lads an opportunity, to showcase themselves. I don't know. You might be in the right position to tell me about this. This Unity Cup, we know it's out of the FIFA rule. Talking about the time it's going to be played. If he gets to see what he wants, is this to say? Because obviously everybody knows Eric Chelle is trying to find his first 11. He's trying to get his own team. That's what I know. We have a game at hand, a mustering game against Rwanda. That's coming up next. Is he going to use from these boys or already made boys? What would it take for Eric Chelle to get the national side prepared to go on and play Rwanda? Because right now, I still would say, I'm very sure he still doesn't know his first team.
Well, of course, and that's but look at whose fault is that? That's our fault for the way that we got him in there, because he didn't know anything. I couldn't hear the rest. It was breaking too much. Just say some of it again. Sorry, breaking.
Okay. I talked about the Super Eagles. We have a game coming up. There's a Unity Cup coming up very soon. Unity Cup, where we have Jamaica, the Reggae Boys of Jamaica, Trinidad, Tobago, Ghana, Nigeria as well, and that very one. But if you look at the list of players who will be coming in, because some of this, the big name guys are tied to their club level, and so it's an avenue for us to see the young lads, possibly from the Chan team. I don't know how he wants to get his team, but it's a space, it's a time, it's an opportunity where we can see our young lads showcase themselves. Now, my question is straight. Is this to say that these boys, these young players, will be used in the Rwanda game, or are we still going to go back, because Eric Chelle is trying to find his footing, are we going to go back to the players we used to know, the first 11, the team that he has already?
Well, number one, we have, and I'm glad you mentioned it, we have got some excellent players.
Right.
These boys are going to be put at the forefront. We want them every opportunity they get to play together, to cement themselves as a team. They must play together. Whether you get other players who are not so good or what, we will select a 15-man team, and this team does not change.
Right.
We don't have managers who want to change it every other week, every other month, every other year. No. Keep what we've got, because it will work. They will get there and it will work, and we will win a lot of matches. I've watched a lot of games. I've seen individual players when they play for their teams or all around the world, and when they play together as a team. And if we can keep our players, our boys together, we've got a formidable team.
Okay, let's talk about this one now. As someone born abroad, what message would you convey to players with similar backgrounds to represent Nigeria?
Please repeat. Sorry, repeat.
I said, as someone born abroad, right? What message would you convey to players with similar backgrounds, just like you, to represent Nigeria?
I would say to them, be strong, believe in yourself. Nothing changes until you cross that white line. When you cross the white line of the pitch, then you know we're starting. And we've got so many players who have done that so many times and are so good, and they're not believing in themselves.
Mm.
All I encourage them to do is to believe in themselves. It's for real. We're going into it, and we want to show what we can do.
Okay, so we believe, let's see how that goes. Great to have you on the show quickly again, but just in case you're joining us, we are Voice of the People now, the Point of Fame. Lagos City, we have John Fashanu. You already know his game well, the former England international, Wembley striker. He's got a lot of goals to his name. He's got very, very big tally. I mean, I'm happy to have him on the show, just so you know, he does very well on the show. Now, let's have you on this part now. Still talking about the Super Eagles. What's your current relationship? This one is very important for me. I like to know, because I recall when I had Shegun Odegbami on the show, we had a conversation, related to the NFF talks, and then I had Samson Siasia a couple of months back as well, and I'm having you now. So great one. Now, what's your current relationship with the Nigerian Football Federation NFF, and do you see potentials for collaboration?
Oh, definitely. Shegun Odegbami is a very good friend of mine and a wonderful guy and a nice guy. You've got JJ, you've got Kanu, you've got everybody. We have all got to a position where we all know each other and we're all friends.
Right.
Now, whether we can get where we want to go, that's another thing. That's another problem we've got. Because, of course, at the end of the day, as I've said, and I'm not scared to say it, the NFA, they want money. Everybody wants money. And if you are thinking that you want to be a manager, you better make sure you've got the funds for it. Because I'm bringing it out, because it's got to stop. It cannot be money.
Right.
If it was about the teams and about the players and about the coaching, we would be so much higher than we already are. But sadly, this is what comes into it.
So that's not a good one to talk about Nigerian football. But let's say this now. You previously shown interest. You showed interest one time, like I really learned. You showed interest in the NFF presidency job. But just saying, is this still a long-term goal, or has your focus shifted to coaching? I'm just asking.
Again, say that again.
So you previously showed interest, in the NFF presidency. But I'm asking you, is this still a long-term goal for you? Or has your focus shifted to coaching?
Yes, well, that would be great. I mean, yes, that's what I've spoken about. The NFF, of course, president. But, of course, nobody wants to be a president and have people shooting at him every 5 minutes.
Mm.
I want people to believe in what I'm doing. I want people to believe in some of the best footballers who have done well for themselves and now have spread, and I happen to be one of them. I need the blessing of the NFF.
Okay.
I need that blessing. I need that very strongly, because they're a very strong team. And
Right.
There's no point going into a position only to be kicked out after 3 months, 6 months.
Yeah, so before
NFA are powerful.
Right, okay, they are powerful. I mean, when you were playing the game, you still call them NFA. You're currently NFF. They used to be NFA at that point in time, but currently now NFF. So let's say this. I will let you go soon, but on this one now, Shegun Odegbami said something to me. I'm going to quote him on the show. He said to me, the Nigerian Football Federation vividly forgot that they're governing a lot of bodies. And he said to me that the national team is not owned by an individual. It's for the federation. That's one. Now, I like to say this. He said as well, and I'm quoting, that we respect the foreigners. That's the word. I don't want to sound white or black. I'm not racist. But he said, we respect the foreign coaches and our local coach. How true is this?
Well, I think Shegun's got to be very careful there, because yes, we do respect them. Know that they're not as good as us. Yes, we do. But certainly we respect them. We give them the respect they're due, because they've come all the way over here to try and give us success. No, there's no need. We don't need them. What's Shegun doing all the time? He himself should be applying to be a coach.
Okay. All right, so I'll have to let you go at this point in time. But then they say Nigeria don't see football or sports as business. How true?
Say it again?
We hear people say that. I mean, on social media everywhere, it's just out there. People say, we don't see football. We don't see football as a business.
Well, I'm sorry to say, that's exactly it. It's not a hobby. It is a business, and it's a hard-nosed business. And the time is we've got to stand up and understand that this is a business. and it's a wonderful business if you're successful.
Right.
If you're not, go and sit down.
Okay, so that's the man I have on the show. A lot of people are already dropping a lot of comments, about this talk, and it's looking very interesting on the outside. But let's talk about some other things away from this. I'm sorry, I'm going to keep you for this one. I like to have you on the show. If I'm opportune, I would love to do this with you oftentimes. But let's see, now the national team is away. Let's look into the club level. You have a club you fan? Do you fan on the club side?
I lost you. Pardon?
Do you have a club side you fan? A club side?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
What club is that?
I have several club sides, thank God, but I'm not about to talk about them and put pressure on them at the moment, because I'm sure by tomorrow there'll be a whole pack of newsreaders who will be there.
Right.
So I'm not going to mention who they are.
Okay, so let's talk about foreign news and foreign football. What about club side? What club do you support?
Say again?
Do you have a club you support? Like you played for Wimbledon, you played for Norwich, you played for Aston Villa. Are you a fan of this club side?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, very much so. Yes. Aston Villa, Norwich City,
right.
Wimbledon,
Wimbledon,
FA Cup 77. Oh, my goodness me. Yeah, we won a lot.
Right.
There's nothing like home.
Yeah.
Nothing like home, I assure you. Coming back home into this Kocha, which we've been here now 15 years, is nothing like home.
How long have you been in Nigeria now?
15 years.
16?
15 years. 15
wow.
years.
Oh, 15 years. That's a long time. Oh, okay.
Yes. Well, when you love your country, my time was up. I've done my work. I've done everything there. I've done my television shows. I've done everything in London. Now it's time to come home. I made a few pennies, which is great, but now it's time to come home and fight with everybody else.
Right. In other words, let's call it you're back to you're on the project, Give It Back initiative, or maybe.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Fash, John Fash, if I let you go, I'd like you to say this again. I'd like you to say this again. I'd like you to say this again. I'd like you to reiterate. Tell me this. Why did you not play for Nigeria? Why did you not play for the Super Eagles? People say you dumped Nigeria for England. I'd like you to say it again.
Well, number one, I don't sound like a Nigerian who would dump his country.
Oh.
Number two, my country is one of the most, if not the most important things in my life. I never dumped my country. It was because I was flown by the late MKO. I was flown into Nigeria, and I literally was left there. I had no money, nothing at all, no guidance. And when I got to the Super Eagles and I got there, National Stadium, everybody wanted to have money. I didn't have any money. I flew back. I flew back to England, and I didn't play. I did the same again. They brought me back again.
Wow.
This time, they asked for money, and I didn't have money. On the third time back, I had to explain to the coach, and I'm not going to say who coach was, I don't have money, but I have the ability.
Wow.
The coach said, then take your ability back to England. We don't need it here. We want money here. And that was the last time that I was spoken to by the Super Eagles or anybody else, because I realized it's all about money.
Wow.
Here.
How do you feel? How did you feel at that point? How did you feel being denounced from playing from your own national country?
Well, I feel very sad that I had to go and play for England, because to be quite honest, the racism in England is pretty strong. I've got to be honest.
Yeah.
And I never thought about playing for England. But when I saw the door was closed for Nigeria, and I wanted to be like everybody else to play, but we didn't have money. Came from a very poor family, unfortunately, so there was no money there. And I couldn't play. That showed really what was what. I couldn't play for Nigeria, so I went back to England, and I played 3 matches for England, which was something special.
Right. Yeah, true. Absolutely true. Great time with you again. But this thing you talked about now on the part of not playing for Nigeria, do you think it's still happening now? I'm just saying, because you're in Nigeria now. You're in Abuja.
Yes. Well,
really?
Most people get it wrong. And they say you let down your country, John Fashioneau. I didn't let my country down. I had no choice. I came here. I actually flew with MKO, the late MKO's flight, and I wanted to play for my country. I was proud to play for my country, but I never got the opportunity. And I know that, and I think most other people know that I didn't turn down my country.
Thank you so much. I mean, it's good that you clarify this on a national radio. I mean, the world is listening, the world is watching. And then, trust me, this is what I love to do. We're going to put it out on social media as well. That we had John Fashionable, the former England international, on the show who wished to play for Nigeria. I mean, you still pledge in Nigeria, and you still sound like you love this country, and it shows that you love Nigeria. And that's why you honor this interview. And it's good that you say to the people that, so they know, because everyone is saying mouths are waggling, eyebrows is being raised. They're saying, no, don't talk about John Fashionable. I recall one of the time on the radio, no, sorry, on TV, I talked about you, and on the comment section was flawed. A lot of people were saying, forget about him. Few persons were saying this same story, but maybe not with the full detail. But a lot of people were saying, forget about him. He dumped Nigeria. Why does he want to come back now? A lot of talks. But it's clear, and it's good that we have you on the show. And for clarity's sake, I really appreciate your time on the radio. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And please bear in mind, I've been here now 14 years. It's a long time.
Don't worry, that's cool. I'm going to connect with you. I'm going to write you on WhatsApp. Possibly going to reach out to you on social media as well. We talk from there. We have got 14 years is not a small time. 14 years. I mean, was a great time. But the question is, whose report do you believe? John Fashion, and one of the dreams for me was like, when I see this man, I go ask him a question. Say, but tell me, what's he making up for Nigeria? But just heard from the man. But quickly, let's shift attention away from that. Look at this boys now. This is about the Nigerian the South Africa game. The Amani Town, the Magic Towns, you could call them. But one man is in the news as well. Former Super Eagles, you could say coach, you could say former Flying Eagles coach as well, Samson Siasia, has urged Nigeria on the 20 side, the national team to be focused on today's game. And then Siasia is just good to say he's focusing on the side that we can get it right against South Africa, and also not to be complacent following their qualification for the FIFA Under-20 World Cup. Siasia, who nearly won the FIFA Under-20 World Cup with the Flying Eagles in 2009, commended the current team achievement, noting that the significance, of securing a place at the global tournament is out there and very close. Now, moving on, he said they've done very well in qualifying for the World Cup, which is very important. The former Super Eagles striker told reports this. He said, this has been a good exposure for the young players, just like we saw with Victor Osimhen, who made the most of his opportunity and is now excelling at the top level. Moving on as well, the former national team coach stressed the importance of maintaining discipline and building on their success when they face South Africa today. That game is for today, so you need to know. We have to wait to see how it comes to play. And when I was saying, they shouldn't relax now. They shouldn't relax now. Every match going forward is crucial. One mistake and you are out. That's Siasia warning the Flying Eagles. And then he said you can't get to this stage. That's the semi-final and not aim for final. That wouldn't make sense. He further advised the players and also the body to adhere strictly to the coach's instruction and make better use of the scoring chances they create today. The key is to prepare, according to him. Prepare better, play well, play smarter, listen to your coaches. They must correct their mistakes and stay sharp on the pitch. They can go right, and this is how they can go, and that's how they can get it right. All right, back to me. Now about Samson Siasia. He knows here, he's been here before. One more can be said about Nigeria. See, if I give them opportunity to talk more, I would have gone back to talk about the fashion news talk, but maybe later on I keep that on the pen side. But for the game today, Nigeria, South Africa, we are bitter rivals. I could say that's the word. Now, the lady that sang Water, that song, the Grammy Award, talk all of this. There's this confrontation between Nigeria and South Africa. We're not really syncing so well. It happens also to the West African side, Nigeria, Ghana. But it happens more on entertainment. Now, the game today, I would say the Flying Eagles are great to watch. They've been amazing to see all the time. What more can be said about them? They're getting all of the support they need. The NFF is giving them the great studios. Get it right. But Siasia is one man everybody knows. I respect him. I'm so sure a lot of people respect him. A lot of people wanted him to be the man of the Super Eagles. But now he has come to say that these guys can get it all right. But please use your head. Don't be so dull on the game. Be smarter. Be quick. Be decisive. Listen to your coach. Get the result right. And then we are here to get it all done. So the South African side, you know how, I don't want to say they don't like Nigerians. That would be a wrong word. But if I say it in the world of football, ironically, if you know what I mean, that's good to say. They would want to get it right. Now, you played against a side that knows that we also want them to drop down on the World Cup qualifying role. We'll talk about the Super Eagles, South Africa, Benin Republic, Rwanda, the rest of that. Then you know it's a pressure on them. But let's see how that goes. But away from the South African news, let's talk about one man. Let's wrap up with this one. I rightly said it on the show, and I asked Marshall that one. They say We don't see sports as a business. That's the man on the screen. He's urging the Nigerian Football Federation and all politicians, all leaders, invest wisely in sports, not just football. Now, Nigerian football icon Kocha, his name is twice. That's how good it is. Has made heartfelt appeal to Nigerian leaders and politicians to increase their investment in sports across the country, not just football. Now, speaking in an interview with Sports Boom, Kocha emphasized the urgent need for better infrastructure and broader sports supporting system in the discipline of Nigerian football. He is one man, he's widely regarded as one of the Nigerian greatest footballer of all time and also a three-time FIFA World Cup participant, stressing that while there has been some government support, so great to know that he's supporting the government on that part. He said it falls short of what is needed to unlock the full potential of Nigerian athletes. Now, moving on, he said support sports, not just football, provide good infrastructure and players can maximize their potentials. Government have been helping, he said, but they can do more. The former Premier League leader, Premier League midfielder as well, Kocha added. He said he calls states the critical role that investment and proper management play in nurturing talent and elevating Nigerian status in the global sporting arena. Beyond his plea for enhanced sports development, Kocha also shared his thoughts on the current state of the Super Eagles as they navigate the challenging 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers. And then moving on the show quickly, I tell you more. Despite a shaky start and Nigerian qualification position in the fourth place in the qualifying role, Kocha remains optimistic. He believes that the team can still qualify if they win their remaining matches, including top fixtures against South Africa Bafana. You see what I'm saying? You see, we defear them. Obviously, we defear them. Everybody knows me. I defear them too. Now, as reported by Paul Sports, the 51-year-old said the Super Eagles under Eric Chelle still have a chance to pick up the ticket if they can get it through the playoff, just maybe. Now, he's concerned about Nigerian football and also going beyond the national team performance. He's been vocal about the structural deficiencies in Nigerian football, particularly the lack of adequate facilities and professional coaching, which he believes hinder the development of young talents. Now, wrapping up on the talk, as a former captain and one of Africa's most successful midfielder or skillful midfielder, I can say, JJ voices everybody knows carries a lot of weight in Nigerian sports circle. His legacy built on dazzling performances for both clubs, like he played for Eintracht Frankfurt and German side, he played for Paris Saint-Germain, he played for Bolton, everybody knows the story. He played for not really big clubs, I have to say, but his talk gives him a unique perspective of what Nigerian sports needs to thrive. Now, in summary, Kocha's message is very clear. Nigerian leaders can and must do more to support sports infrastructure, management-wise, and also the youth development. Only then can Nigeria fully harness its vast pool of athletic talent and regain its position as a powerhouse in African and global sports. Yes, so before we call it a wrap on the Sports Republic show, let me quickly say this. Let me just do a top series. If you did join us, we talked about Taiwo Awoniyi. Taiwo Awoniyi, good news that he's back to life after that induced coma of what we had yesterday. But Tuesday, the news is out there that Taiwo Awoniyi is bouncing and is back on his feet again. Maybe not playing wise, but he needs the rest. But thank God he's alive, and this is what God can do, and that's all about God alone. So Taiwo Awoniyi, who you have on your screen now, a prolific international player, plays for Nigeria as well. And we wish him all of the best. From all of us right here on VOP Media, we wish him well, and our support are also with that very man, Taiwo Awoniyi. And we talked about one man, John Fashanu. Yes, dream come true for me one of the days. But guess what? We should have had him on TV, but we never had him because of the network glitching and the breaking. But we are going to have him on the show very soon, and that will be live. Away from what you've just learned, that one will be like face-to-face talk, 1v1. You tell me, did you really adopt Nigeria? I said, no, I did not adopt Nigeria. I decided to pay money. You see, so whose report do you believe? If I not believe what fashion will tell me, I can't believe. You tell me, saying I saw it. So for now, I don't want to see the carry the go. You know, if they lie for me, but it's still possible. It's possible he's lying. It's possible he's saying the truth. Anything is possible. But then, you know what we do on the media? We have to go around the world, search, and find out if that's true. All right, so quickly away from passionate talk, we talked about the Flying Eagles today against South Africa. You saw that training yesterday. Let's quickly get that clip. The training about these boys, they want to get it right. Me not go play. See, me not go. They're going to do make me swear. No, me not y'all go get it. So beat South Africa for me. Me not still come back. More give a celebration. Yes. So I will say congratulations to the Flying Eagles in advance, if that's the word. Yes, stuff like that. To them. And also we ended up the show just like you heard me talk about one man, JJ. He's so good that they named him twice. JJ, Kocha, person name, Delta-born footballer. But I think I was watching a clip about Jerry Apello, the man that'll be here on the show later on. He said something about JJ. What has he done in his own hometown? You know, talked about local government. He's from Delta. But regardless, that's all. Thank you so much for being part of the show. We have to call it a wrap here. I remain Kizike, and I must say this, the only football player without a jersey. Tomorrow will be a Friday. time. I will talk. Tomorrow shall not be English. Now strictly preaching. We cannot go straight south to the world. I'll see you tomorrow, girl. Please be safe. My name is Kizzy Came out.